Hey guys, welcome back to Kickster. This is the latest video in my series of Let Me Explain videos. If you haven't seen my previous two videos yet, be sure to check them out. I think you might find some interesting points on them, one of them about Avatar and one of them about Jurassic World. But today's video is going to be a bit of a change of pace. It's not focused on any particular film, TV series or piece of media in general. It's more just a analysis of the industry in general and kind of a cultural movement that I kind of see happening in our entertainment. And the topic of it is wholesome the new edgy? Now, what do I mean by that? So, as you would all probably know, there's been a lot of great content and movies and entertainment that's come out in the last decade or two, particularly on television, where you've had a real increase in quality in that regard, and a lot of it has been focused around content that's a lot more mature, with a lot more adult themes and a lot more kind of darker and grittier. It's just like all around edgy sort of vibe to the types of films and TV shows they're making. And it's been definitely a trend that's been going on for a long while. And to me, I'm starting to notice though that there is some evidence to suggest that more sort of wholesome and family-oriented content is kind of making a comeback and also almost sort of becoming the new edgy thing to do, which is to be wholesome when everyone else is being edgy and darker and grittier. It's kind of like almost being rebellious to be wholesome again. And so I'm going to delve into that and talk about some examples that I'm seeing in the industry and hopefully get something interesting out of it. So let's go. So for years, I've noticed that all sorts of films and TV shows have gone down this path of more sort of pessimism and nihilism in terms of the types of stories they're wanting to tell. You know, I think you've probably noticed it too, where just shows and movies just seem to kind of delve more into the darker aspects of the human condition and what it means to be human, and not always kind of reaching for those satisfying payoffs or those like happy endings. You know, they're more just kind of keeping us in that in the idea that not everything is sunshine and daisies, not everything has a happy ending. You know, life is tough, and we're going to make content that kind of feeds that sort of that ideology. If you look at TV in particular, the likes of Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Sons of Anarchy, even in the more kind of documentary style TV space of like Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy, these kinds of shows where they're really dark and almost depressing at times in the types of stories that they're telling. They've undoubtedly become the most popular types of shows of our time in the last decade or two. And you know, if you go to the next level, talking about the characters, the types of characters that have become more popularized, you'll see that it's one of the common ones that's become very popular is the concept of the anti-hero. So which is basically the subversion of the idea that you can have just a Superman type hero who is all good and everything that we should strive to be. It's more breaking that down and giving us characters that are more grounded and show whilst when they do good things, they also have a dark side. So it's always kind of playing those both sides of the coin with each character. No one is all good, no one is all bad. It's just all gray area, and there's no true hero to root for. And you've seen that with the likes of movies, even with like Joker, or even with supposed good guys, like even the TV show Sherlock, the main detective there, Sherlock Holmes. He's trying to solve crimes, but he's not a very good person. And so those kind of characters, archetypes, have become very popular in media. Even other characters like Venom, or like Walter White from Breaking Bad, or even Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. These characters are all built around the idea that they are not all good and they're not all bad. They are just simply human beings who try to do the best, but don't necessarily try to suppress their dark side either. In some ways, they sort of embrace it as a ways to move forward. And you know, for the longest time, Hollywood was hell-bent on bringing us content that always gave us that good feeling, that happy ending, that feeling of escapism and escape into new worlds and just all-around positivity, and just no matter how dark the situation can get, the good guy will always come out on top. But that over time started to shift, and we entered this new era which really subverted those kind of expectations and showed us that no, it's not always going to be a happy ending. And it got to this point where like almost every movie sequel that came out to any big franchise was, what do we do with the second movie? Oh, well, let's go darker. You know, classic examples going from Batman Begins to The Dark Knight, going from Star Wars: A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back, or Force Awakens to The Last Jedi, or you name it. There's so many examples you can look to where the classic trend was, okay, we've introduced a successful first film, what do we do with the second one? Oh, let's go darker. Let's make it darker and grittier. Audiences love that. And look, there are audiences that definitely love it, no doubt. But I think it's hitting a point now where I think audiences are almost kind of sick of it and are starting to turn against it. And I'm going to get into where I think it's going. So, you know, with all this considered, I really believe I'm starting to see a trend back to wholesomeness, leaving this era of edginess and heading towards wholesomeness again. Let's look at the recent successes. Going back to last year, it was Top Gun Maverick. You know, here we had this sequel to a movie that was 35 years old, no real anticipation for it or anything like that. But when it came out, it just gave us that good feeling again of what it's like to come to a cinema, have a good, solid story, but also have a happy ending where their hero does heroic things and he's not struggling with being a hero or, you know, being taught by someone else how to be a hero. He's just being a badass, and that's what people love. We wanted to see Tom Cruise as Maverick, flying the planes, being competent, and winning the day. That's what we wanted to see, and that's why that movie was such a big success. Even if you look at Avatar 2, the Avatar 2, pretty simple story again, but that movie had a very strong family message, and it was a wholesome kind of story of a dad wanting to protect his family. It's something that we've kind of trended away from, where we don't want to present these strong male characters. We want to make everything kind of, oh, well, maybe the females are more stronger now, or we have to, males have to kind of pull back on their masculinity because it can be a bit offensive. It's like, no, we want to see good, strong values on both the male and the female side. And that movie, Avatar 2, definitely showed that. Strong husband and wife partnership, trying to protect their kids and doing anything to save their kids. And, you know, just a wholesome story of, you know, within that magical universe. And then, you know, on the TV side, you've got the likes of Cobra Kai, Stranger Things, properties heavily bent on nostalgia, giving us that 80s nostalgia and showing us, like, reminding us of these good times. And they are positive shows. The Cobra Kai in particular, you know, it's got these clear-cut heroes that we remember from the 80s, and they are still heroes, and we love them. And they're not downtrodden, they're not taught, they're not presented as being bad guys now or something. No, they are the heroes again, and we get to see them go on these new journeys. Same with Stranger Things with the young kids in there. You know, they go through some definitely dark stuff, but ultimately they come out on top, and the show has an all-around positive vibe. And, you know, that's not to say that edgy content is going anywhere. I mean, there's definitely a place for it. I enjoy my fair share of edgy and darker content, that's for sure. It's not going anywhere. There's going to be plenty more to come. It is, by saying that we're trending more towards wholesomeness doesn't mean that that era is dying, like it's going the way of the Western or something. No, there's a new market that's being carved out once again that used to be the main market, but now it's carving out its own niche again, and will, I believe, continue to grow. You know, I think what helps the evidence of this this idea of what's happening, this cultural moment, is the fact that whilst these movies and the TV shows are sort of outliers, the ones that I gave examples of, they are outliers, yet they are sort of doing the best within their industries. In 2022, top 3 films, box office wise: Avatar 2, Top Gun Maverick, Jurassic World Dominion. All purely escapism films. No darker agendas, no ideologies put into it, no tearing down our heroes. It was just good traditional fun. Same thing on the TV side as well. And so what do I think caused this? I think the number one cause of this, I think it was always going to happen, I should say. I think we were always going to trend back to wholesomeness, but what I think sped it up was definitely the pandemic and COVID. You know, going through that, the whole world going through that dark phase where we were locked down, we were depressed, we were struggling, all these things. I think the need for a hero once again to really escape from that darkness that we were all in, I think it was just really tangible. We just wanted to get out of that, and we wanted to get out of it fast. And those sorts of movies and TV shows that have come out in the last few years that I gave examples of really were what we needed, and that's why they made money, and that's why they were successes. So I really believe the pandemic sped that up. I think, like I said, I think it was going to happen no matter what, but it was quicker because of it. So are we on the verge of a return to wholesomeness? This is the question. I've given my reasons why I think we are. I think it's clearly happening. I think the evidence is there, but you might have a different opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some kind of unique insights and some food for thought. If you like what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.